A rational exponent. Rational is a fraction. Exponent, you know what an exponent is. I'm changing it to a radical expression. What does radical mean it has to have in it? What's a radical? A square root, like a root house, okay? This 2/3 means something. What does the 2 on top tell us? That's an exponent or the power. What does the 3 on bottom tell us? That's the index, the root. So when I have a radical, the root is 3 and inside is 5 squared. Or I can write it as a root 3 all squared. So if I go backwards, I have the 4th root of x squared y to the power of 3. So how do I write it? What's going to be my base? Like what's inside my parentheses? And then what will my fraction say? 3/4. So my last one has an index of what, or a root of what? 2, which is just called a square root. So I have a square root of 32x to the 4th y. Do I ever write a root of 2? No, it's automatic. Because that's what a square root is. This is automatically a root of 2. Okay, but this I can simplify. What is the square root of 32? You can't do it, but you can break it down. For what? What will be left over? No. What does 32 break down into? 16 and 2. What's the square root of 16? So what do I have? 4 and what's left inside? The 2. So 4 square roots of 2. How many x's can I take out? 2. So x squared. Can I take any y's out? So where does it stay? Inside. You should, yes. If we don't. Then you'll Delta Math will probably count it wrong. Yes. Okay. Your quiz test is in Delta Math. So yes, it'll probably count it wrong. All right, here we go. So here's 6.3 part 2. What? Today we are simplifying. You will have to pay very close attention to your directions. Your directions will either say to make it a rational exponent, or it'll say a radical expression. So you have to know the difference. If my directions say leave as a rational exponent, what does it expect in your answer? No, a what? An exponent. So you're going to have a base with a fraction because that's a rational exponent. A radical expression better have what in the answer? A root of some sort. So a something root. It better have a radical house. Right? All right, so let's try to get this done. We'll see how well it goes. So example number 1 is going to say 6 to the 1/7 times 6 to the 4/7. First, I have to rewrite that. When I am multiplying, does my base ever change? No, my base has to be the same. So it stays a 6. And when I am multiplying, what happens to my exponents? You add them. So what is 1/7 plus 4/7? 5/7. If I asked you to leave this as a rational exponent, this would be your answer. If I asked you to change it to a radical expression, what would your answer say? The 7th root of 6 to the 5th power. So both of these are correct answers, but you have to read the direction. How does it want it left? Okay. Number 2, 32x to the 1/2 divided by 16x to the 3/4. Does that 1/2 go to both the 32 and the x? No. What is it touching? It's touching the x. If it went to both of them, then it would have to be in parentheses, okay? So the only thing touching the 1/2 is the x. Same thing with my denominator. The only thing touching the 3/4 is the x. So I have 32 divided by 16. What does that equal? So this equals 2. When I have a fraction, what happens to my exponents? They subtract. So really this says x to the 1/2 minus 3/4. Can I do that? Not yet. Why not? The denominators are not the same. So I have to change my 1/2 to have a denominator of 4. What will 1/2 change to have a denominator of 4? So this changes to a 2/4. So I have 2x. What is 2/4 minus 3/4? Negative 1/4. You can't have negative exponents. Where does a negative exponent go? To the denominator. Very good. Somebody watched the video yesterday. So which part is touching my negative exponent? The x. So my 2 stays in the numerator. My x has to move to the denominator. And what is the fraction for the denominator? 1/4. What type of answer is this? A rational exponent, okay? Could I write it as a radical expression? Yes, but then we'd have to do a lot more work because you can't have a radical in the denominator. So this is probably what we'll ask of you. All right, example 3. What if I have 8 to the 3/4 all to the 2/3? When I have an exponent to an exponent, what happens? They multiply. So what does this really say? 8 to the power of? No. I'm multiplying. So what's 3 times 2? 6. 4 times 3? 12, which really equals 8 to the 1/2. This answer is called a rational exponent. What if I change it to a radical expression? What will it say? The square root of what? 8. You got to break it down. What? 2 square roots of 2. Very good. 4 and 2. I know the square root of 4 is 2. So 2 square roots of 2. So both of these would be acceptable depending on the directions. Number 4. This one's gross. Here we go. 9 to the, or x to the negative 2/5, y to the 1/3, all to the 1/2. So do you see the difference between number 4 and number 2? Number 2, the x is touching the 1/2. In number 4, what's all touching the 1/2? Everything, okay? So this is now an exponent to an exponent, which means I have to multiply. So what does this really say? This really says 9 to the 1/2. X to the negative 2/10. Where did I get 2/10 from? I multiplied. Y to the 1/6. Even if it asks you for a rational exponent, this is a bad answer. Why is this a bad answer? Because you can't have your negative. So that negative needs to go to the denominator. So I have 9 to the 1/2, y to the 1/6, all over x to the 1/5. Where did I get 1/5 from? I simplified the fraction. One of these can simplify even more. Which one can simplify even more? The 9 to the 1/2, because what does 9 to the 1/2 really mean? This is really the square root of 9. What is the square root of 9? So my final answer would say 3 y to the 1/6 over x to the 1/5. All right, so let's do a few that go backwards. So what if I have the 10th root of x to the 5th? So how can I rewrite this? I can write it as x with an exponent of what? What will it have an exponent of? 5 over 10, which really equals x to the 1/2. So this is a rational exponent. How could I write it as a radical expression? Square root of x. So both of those depending on your directions. We'll do one more. Either one of these, it depends. So if my directions say rational exponent, then which one would your answer be? The x to the 1/2. If it said put your answer as a radical expression, you would have to do it like this, okay? It might ask you to put it in a rational exponent. So you gotta know what those two directions mean, okay? All right, here we go, last one. 4th root of x to the 6 y squared. So let's start with just one letter at a time. How can I rewrite the letter x? What will its exponent be? It's not just 6. 6 over 4. And then how can I rewrite the letter y? What will its exponent be? 2 over 4. Very good. So if I simplify this, it would say x to the 3/2, y to the 1/2. She made this very gross. Here's how I'm going to teach you to do it. What is my denominator for both of these? So that means I have a what? A square root, right? So what is that going to be? X to the power of 3 and just y. Since it's a square root, which one of these can I actually break down and take out? How many x's can I take out? 1, and then what will be left over? X, y. Okay. If it asks for a rational, then you would leave it like this. So either one of these, depending on how it asks. Questions? She gives 2 that are really ugly, but if you, I'm gonna wait on those and see if they're on your Delta Math, okay? All right, you have Delta Math. You should have had an assignment yesterday, an assignment today. I highly suggest they are all completed before you come to class Friday for your quiz. I highly suggest they are all complete.